All right. Hello. Welcome to another 10-minute talk. Here in this lovely little corner, the sun on me. Oh, it's getting bright now. What a cool spot to have a chat. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I got requested a bit on my close friend's story, and that was gap years and that gap between finding a career and when you left high school. So it probably makes sense first to just quickly talk about my story and how I got to the point where I deferred university one time and then gone back and then dropped out for good as well a year ago. So with me through high school, I think like a lot of people, the concept of a gap year was vaguely talked about and it was a thing, but there was no plan or an action plan for a gap year in any light similar to how you look at a plan for university. People don't treat gap years with as much importance as they could and should, I think. But that led me to going straight into university when I didn't really know what I was going to do. Like a lot of people, I had many different ideas and you have to choose one. So the one I chose, being journalism, I got wrong. I hated it straight away and I knew it wasn't for me when I started. And that led me to deferring though, which was a terrific opportunity for me. So I had deferred once and that was kind of based on the encouragement from one of my friends because I'd had a few who were on a gap year and one in particular was still working at a vineyard down south, a few hours drive away from where I was living at home. And that was the encouragement I needed to kind of step out of my comfort zone just for 6 months. And that was unreal, a huge comfort zone changer. I learnt so much working full-time in a winery, away from my family, living on my own, having to pay rent, buy my own food, cook food, deal with normal life things, right, that I hadn't dealt with yet, being just a kid going through school and living at home. So that was an incredible period. And then after a little bit of travel on the end of that with the money I'd saved up, I didn't know what to do again because I was like, shit, that's over. That opportunity was kind of done. And it was time for me in my head to go back to university. And I went into business at a different uni and it just wasn't for me again. It was a tiny bit closer because business is the way I want to take things. But for me, doing that in university was not it. And I learned that pretty quickly again. But I did finish the semester like the one at my previous time doing journalism. And and then I really just, the amount of discomfort I was feeling by being at university, doing something I knew I was not going to take further, but was just doing anyway to please other people. The discomfort of that feeling just overcame the discomfort of going into the unknown and making a change. And that's when 2 weeks into my second semester, before you had to pay for your semester, I got out just before. And stepped fully into the unknown look, I cancelled my degree. So it was essentially dropping out, but I was treating it like a gap year and talking about it, at least certain people like a gap year, just to not use those scary words of drop out. I think the connotations with that don't sit well with people, especially say, my parents, trying to explain that one, especially when, understandably, and this will be something that a lot of people will be dealing with as well, where their family, everything else they've seen from how they were brought up and then how they look at other parents' kids being brought up and what they're doing. The majority of those people and those kids will be going on that linear path straight through university. And that is a tricky one for parents to understand, and it makes complete sense. So that's a huge thing with this is to, one of those big hurdles of people who are wanting to take a gap year but don't know about, what are my parents going to say? Will they still understand what I'm doing? Or will they support me in it? A lot of that comes from a lack of understanding because they haven't been in that situation before. They're parents. They haven't had to deal with that yet. Thinking about the people that are around you that care about you a lot, when they don't exactly understand what's going on and they just see that you're taking time away from university, that can be stressful for them. Empathy is important then, understanding that if they haven't seen this before and you want to take time away from university, it could just look like alarm bells to them, although it isn't. Throughout all of this, and especially when you're talking with parents and people that care about you and trying to understand what you're going for and why you're not doing the same thing as other people, uncomfortable conversations are really important, and being completely honest. If you're really worried about what your parents are going to think or say, that's your decision if you're going to take that next step, because it depends how badly you want to go through this. If you know it's something you want to take because your life is now in your hands, right? If it's that important to you, taking time away from university because you know that degree that you're going for isn't going to be the thing, or you just don't know if it'll be the thing, maybe you need some time away. If you're going to let your family completely take away from that, not saying I know your situation, but I think it might just take that bit more courage and trusting yourself that this can be the right move. And a few difficult conversations with the people you love will likely, at least in my experience, clear up a lot of that bit of a gross feeling with your family where they don't know what you're really doing. And if it's not clear, then they're not going to like that at all. So talk to them. If you're thinking about a gap year, talk to them. And back yourself as well. From my experience, that was difficult. I held off telling my parents for like 3 weeks. I just didn't want to face it. I was just saying I was going to lectures when I wasn't. And then I just went about the conversation. We were all sitting down about to watch TV. And I just said, got to tell you something. And then just told them. But that could be the point that it makes your relationship with your family, at the same time. Being completely honest and telling them from the heart, like, this is what I want to go for. Like, will you back me? I think that could be an incredibly powerful thing as well. A difficult thing is knowing what to do on one. You might not be happy in your course and think, I need some time away, but then kind of scratching your head at what you'll do in that time. The 3-4 things that are great chances and opportunities that you can look at and explore and apply to you, like what you genuinely like to do, and make sure that's a part of this equation, is looking at working holiday, working and being away at the same time, essentially. That's what I did that first time. I went to, a town 3 hours away. It wasn't very far, but I was living on my own. I was seeing my family and going back to Perth like once a month. And that was still removed enough, for sure, that I was on a working holiday. And I loved that. So working holiday means you can be saving money as well, making money, meeting a whole lot of new people as well, because you're away, building independence as well. I thought that was terrific. I would not change that at all. I would do that again, really. It was incredible. So working holiday is a huge, awesome option, and that has so much freedom to be applied to you as well. Like, what do I want to be working in, and where do I want to go? Because there's options out there. It just takes that finding as well, a bit of work on your end to try and explore what is out there too. So, start looking online and talking to people and hopefully being able to have some sort of community one day that can help you find those options. And that's something that I want to build. For some people, it might be that they want to start their own thing, their own business, or create something, make content or do art. You don't have to have some external goal for your gap year. It doesn't have to be about making this much money or traveling to this many countries. It can be kind of like that if you want, but I wouldn't just give yourself some external target. You don't need necessarily a target. You just need the time to just be away and doing your own thing. I think that's what's so important, and it's going to help you find your North Star in the future. So getting back on track, working holiday, starting your own business, travel. Often with the third, you're going to want to save at some point so you can afford to travel. And with me last year, I spent basically the first 5-6 months pretty much just saving and working while creating content and trying to make my own business at the same time. But that was a very in Perth money style part of the trip. So then the last 4 months have been me traveling. So that's been kind of how I used my time to do travel as well. I worked for kind of, so you could say half, and then traveled for half. And you could even pair a working holiday as the saving part, and then traveling on your own independently after for the other half of your gap year or gap semester as well. So working holiday, business, travel. The other option is, as much as, for some people this wouldn't work well, but for some people this is perfect, and it is just taking a gap year, just figuring it out. You don't have to be doing any of those things regimented. You don't have to have a set block to do them. You might just take time off, and maybe you're just doing some hobbies for a while and doing the things you want to do and still working at the cafe you work at for a bit. Maybe you're picking up an extra shift and you're making a little bit more money, and you start returning to writing because you like writing, and then all of a sudden you maybe start a blog. Like, it's that thing that I talked about in last 10-minute topic video about there's no rush. If you don't have to have the sense of rush about it, then you can have the freedom to just explore for the fun of it and freely and in a relaxed state. instead of thinking, sure, I got 4 more months of this gap year. I need to go to at least 3 more countries if this is going to be worth it. That's not a good mentality for a gap year. But those are my kind of, I suppose, the ones that come to my mind initially about options and ways to use a gap year or gap semester, working holiday, or another one's really just working if you want to and saving up big. But then, it makes sense in my head to then make use of that money for something you really enjoy. So that could be, business, as I talked about, and travel. Or just a free-flowing approach. There can be a combination of all those together. You might have your own completely separate idea as well. But yeah, and then this is going to be longer than 10 minutes. I just know it. This is going to be long. I really just want to talk about this because it's big. And this idea of gap years, I'm really passionate about that gap and figuring out what you want to do. And it's going to be a space that I really spend a lot more time in. So I don't want to hold back on just talking about it now. Because I think that some people watching this would be getting a lot out of it. So I hope you are, if that's you. Because the last kind of topic I want to talk about is the benefits kind of compounding over time. Because something that people don't notice or don't think about with a gap year is what kind of benefits you get years and years after. Because we look at it as you get 12 months. Okay, sick, I traveled to these countries, or I made this much money, or I tried and failed or succeeded at these businesses. But a lot of the time, all of those things you do are just little stepping stones or little pieces of your puzzle to figure out what your North Star is or what you want to do with your life. Like, where do you want to take your life as a career that's going to be passionate, purposeful, and generate income as well? It doesn't have to be that your gap year solves that straight away for you. Mine didn't. My gap semester definitely didn't. Left me with more questions than answers. And that was incredibly important. So it's an encouragement that if you are going to take time away, to not think that you're just going to figure it out. I'm going to go travel India for 6 months backpacking and come back with my desired career and go in university and study with passion that thing I want to do. Don't have that expectation on yourself at all. Because if you do that, if you have an expectation on that and which you probably won't meet, you're actually then closing yourself off of the opportunity that I think gap years are really all about with finding what you want to do, which is that it just plants more seeds about things that you might want to do. And over time, those will grow and then you'll find one. And it could be at a random moment. You might not see it coming, where a bit further down the track, all of a sudden, everything's come together because that gap year led you to maybe just changing a few of your units, right, at university. And then it reminded you of your interest in some certain topic, which once you finish your degree, for example, if you're going at uni, you start to kind of, without even realizing it, you kind of start going that direction. And then all of a sudden, that can be what puts you in your North Star of a career and helps just guide you to that place. So I think gap years and gap semesters and time away from uni, whenever that is, especially if it's focused time where you have some set ideas of what it is you want to be getting after and moving towards, not goals to be ticking off fully, but where you want to be going. So just experiencing new things and figuring things out as best as you can, then I think that's where you get those returns of these experiences which start to just impact your life, and you start finding those things that you enjoy more and taking in things that you like to do more and places that you want to see out there, and people that you resonate with the most, and hobbies that start to become passions. And then that helps you also let go of things that you used to think are important, which you've now realized aren't. So I guess I'm saying that gap years won't necessarily just give you the bang, sweet, I want to be a doctor, or, I'm going to drop out forever and just be a monk. Like, it's not about that. It's about the experiences compounding over time and just helping guide you to a place that makes you more happy and more fulfilled. So my final pitch with the gap year is that, don't be in a rush, because that year can give you so much more than, 8 units, 2 semesters of ticked boxes at your university. It can give you so much more, and those boxes are still waiting for you when you get back to be ticked. You can do that whenever. in my experience, the time I've had away from uni has been incredibly beneficial, and I've learnt so fucking much. I've learnt so much, and I want other people to get that experience as well. But I know at the same time how hard it is to go for it, and also the kind of way that it's best done to maximize gaining those experiences in the best way. So yeah, 10-minute talk, done. Thanks for watching. Next week I'll see you in Perth. And let me know what else you want me to talk about, because I'm enjoying this. And this one was not 10 minutes. But alright, I need to stop talking. Thank you for watching. Bye.